Listen carefully, because the next 20 minutes may reveal why wealth keeps passing through your life without ever stopping. You may work hard. You may have ambition. You may tell yourself that you want a better life. Yet opportunities seem to find someone else. Money comes slowly and disappears quickly. The right people overlook you. The doors you need remain closed. And after enough disappointment, you begin to wonder whether some people were simply born with a power you do not possess. But what if the difference is not luck? What if wealth is responding to a signal you are sending every day without realizing it? A signal created by your dominant thoughts, your emotional state, your expectations, your habits, your words, your decisions, and the way you carry yourself when no one is watching. Some call this signal presence. Some call it confidence. Some call it personal magnetism. You may call it your aura. Whatever name you choose, understand this. Before wealth appears in your hands, it must first become visible in your mind, believable in your emotions, and natural in your behavior. You cannot consistently attract abundance while mentally rehearsing poverty. You cannot invite opportunity while expecting rejection. You cannot become powerful while secretly identifying yourself as weak. And you cannot build riches while allowing fear, indecision, and doubt to dominate the atmosphere around you. Your outer world is constantly receiving instructions from your inner world. That is the first secret. But there is a second secret, and it is even more important. Your aura is not fixed. It can be trained. It can be strengthened. It can be transformed from an atmosphere of fear into an atmosphere of certainty, from hesitation into decision, from desperation into purpose, from invisible need into visible value. And before this message ends, you will learn a simple nightly practice that can begin changing this signal from the inside out. But first, you must understand what most people get wrong about attracting wealth. They believe attraction means sitting still and wishing. They create pictures in their minds. They repeat pleasant words, and then they wait for money to arrive. When nothing changes, they declare that positive thinking does not work. But Think and Grow Rich was never a philosophy of passive wishing. It was a philosophy of organized desire. Desire backed by faith. Faith strengthened through repetition. Repetition followed by decision. Decision supported by planning. Planning protected by persistence. And persistence multiplied through cooperation with other minds. This is how a thought becomes a fortune. Your thoughts do not attract wealth merely because they are thoughts. They attract wealth when they transform you into the kind of person who recognizes, creates, and acts upon opportunity. That transformation changes your presence. It changes the way you enter a room. It changes the way you speak about your future. It changes the standards you accept. It changes the ideas you notice. It changes the people you approach. It changes the speed of your decisions. And eventually, it changes your results. The person who expects failure sends one kind of signal. The person who has decided to succeed sends another. You can feel the difference before either person speaks. One enters life asking for permission. The other enters life carrying a purpose. One hopes circumstances will improve. The other has chosen a destination and is already moving toward it. This does not mean the confident person has no fear. It means fear is no longer giving the orders. You begin building a wealth-attracting aura the moment you give your mind one clear command, a definite purpose, not a vague wish to become rich, not a weak hope that life will somehow get better. A definite purpose is specific. It tells your mind what you intend to create, why you intend to create it, what you are prepared to give in return, and when you intend to begin. Most people radiate uncertainty because they have never made a clear decision about what they want. They want money, but they do not know how much. They want success, but they have never defined what success means. They want freedom, but they continue following routines that strengthen their dependence. Their energy is divided because their intention is divided. One day they want to build something. The next day they want comfort. 1 hour, they believe in themselves. The next hour, they surrender to the opinion of someone who has never attempted what they desire. A divided mind produces a weak signal. A decided mind becomes magnetic. When you know what you want, your mind begins filtering reality differently. You notice useful conversations. You recognize valuable skills. You see possible partnerships. You detect opportunities that were always present but invisible to the person you used to be. The opportunity did not suddenly appear. Your mind became prepared to see it. This is why definite purpose is more powerful than motivation. Motivation changes with your mood. Purpose remains when the mood disappears. Purpose gives direction to your imagination. It tells your subconscious mind what information to search for. It gives meaning to sacrifice. It turns temporary defeat into instruction. Without purpose, every obstacle feels like a warning to stop. With purpose, every obstacle becomes a question. What must I learn? What must I change? Who must I become? Do not ask only, how can I make more money? Ask, what valuable problem can I become capable of solving? Money is rarely attracted to need alone. The world is filled with people who need more money. Money moves toward value. It moves toward organization. It moves toward solutions. It moves toward those who can direct knowledge, people, imagination, and effort toward a useful result. Your aura becomes more powerful when you stop communicating need and begin communicating value. Desperation says, please give me an opportunity. Purpose says, I am preparing myself to become worthy of greater opportunity. Desperation chases. Value attracts. This does not mean you should pretend to possess skills you have not earned. It means you must stop waiting to feel powerful before you begin developing power. Learn, practice, observe, improve, become useful. Specialized knowledge is one of the foundations of wealth because the marketplace does not reward everything you know. It rewards your ability to apply what you know to a definite purpose. You do not need to know everything. You need to know what matters for the result you intend to create. Then you must organize that knowledge into action. Every hour you spend developing a valuable ability changes the way you see yourself, and when your self-image changes, your behavior follows. You speak with greater certainty because you have prepared. You make stronger decisions because you understand the field. You stop feeling like an outsider waiting to be chosen. You begin thinking like a creator. This is when your aura begins to shift. But knowledge alone is not enough. Many intelligent people remain poor because their intelligence is trapped behind indecision. They know what they should do. They can explain the entire process. They can identify every risk. They can criticize every person who has already begun, but they do not move. The world does not reward the person who knows but never decides. Decision is one of the strongest forms of personal magnetism. A decisive person creates movement. Movement attracts information. Movement attracts allies. Movement attracts feedback. Movement reveals the next step. Indecision attracts confusion because it teaches your mind that your intentions are not trustworthy. Every time you make a promise to yourself and ignore it, your inner authority becomes weaker. Every time you say you will begin tomorrow, then delay again, you train yourself to doubt your own words. How can you expect other people to believe in your direction when you do not believe your own commands? Your wealth aura becomes stronger when your mind learns that your decisions have consequences. When you say you will wake up and work, you work. When you say you will complete the plan, you complete it. When you say you will stop feeding a destructive habit, you stop negotiating with it. This creates self-trust. And self-trust can be felt. It appears in your eyes. It appears in your voice. It appears in the way you respond under pressure. You no longer need to convince everyone that you are serious. Your discipline communicates it for you. Now understand the role of faith. Faith is not pretending that difficulties do not exist. Faith is the emotional acceptance that your purpose can be achieved even when the full path has not yet been revealed. You may not know exactly how the opportunity will arrive. You may not know which plan will succeed. You may not know which person will open the next door. But you can decide that temporary uncertainty will not destroy your direction. Faith is built through autosuggestion. The thoughts you repeat with emotion gradually become the beliefs from which you act. This is why the words you speak to yourself matter. Your mind is always listening. When you repeatedly say, "Nothing works for me," your mind begins collecting proof. When you say, "I always lose money," your behavior begins protecting that identity. When you say, "People like me never succeed," you give your subconscious mind an order to reject unfamiliar possibilities. Then you call the result bad luck. But the command came from you. Guard the language you use when describing yourself. Do not make poverty part of your identity. Do not turn a temporary condition into a permanent definition. You may be experiencing financial difficulty, but you are not required to become mentally owned by it. You may have failed in one plan, but you are not a failure. You may be starting with limited resources, but imagination has never required permission from your current bank account. Your present situation is a fact. It is not a prophecy. Repeat that until your mind understands it. Your present situation is a fact. It is not a prophecy. The past explains how you arrived here. It does not decide where you must remain. The danger is not that you have experienced defeat. The danger is that defeat becomes the atmosphere you carry into every new attempt. A discouraged person can stand in front of an opportunity and see only risk. A purposeful person can stand in front of the same opportunity and see a problem that can be solved. This is why controlling your mental environment is essential. You cannot build a powerful aura while consuming fear from morning until night. You cannot fill your mind with gossip, resentment, envy, and disaster, then expect it to produce courage, imagination, and wealth. Every conversation enters your mental atmosphere. Every repeated image leaves an impression. Every opinion you accept becomes part of your internal dialogue. You must decide what is allowed to remain. This may require distance from people who laugh at ambition because they abandon their own. It may require limiting information that keeps you emotionally agitated but gives you no useful action to take. It may require replacing empty entertainment with knowledge connected to your purpose. It may require silence. There are moments when the most valuable thing you can do is withdraw from the noise long enough to hear your own direction again. Not everyone should have access to your unfinished dream. A young idea can be weakened by careless criticism. Protect it. Develop it. Test it through action. Allow results to speak before you invite the entire world to judge. But do not confuse protection with isolation. One of the greatest wealth principles is the mastermind. Your personal power increases when you cooperate with people whose knowledge, experience, character, or resources complement your own. You are not expected to build everything alone. The independent person may move quickly, but the organized group can move farther. A wealth-attracting aura also means becoming someone strong people want to cooperate with. Ask yourself honestly, do I keep my word? Do I bring useful ideas? Do I communicate clearly? Do I take responsibility when I make a mistake? Do I give value before demanding reward? Do I bring solutions or only problems? Do people feel more capable after speaking with me or more exhausted? Your aura is not only what you feel about yourself, it is also the effect your presence has on others. People are drawn to those who make progress feel possible. They are drawn to courage. They are drawn to clarity. They are drawn to genuine enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is not loudness. It is belief made visible. It is the emotional energy created when a person becomes connected to a meaningful purpose. When you speak about an idea you truly believe in, your entire expression changes. Your voice gains life. Your imagination becomes active. Other people begin seeing what you see. This is how leaders attract support before the result exists. They do not merely describe the present. They communicate a future so clearly that others become willing to help create it. But enthusiasm must be supported by planning. A dream without a plan may excite people for a moment, but it will not hold their confidence. Organized planning turns emotional desire into practical movement. Your first plan may fail. Expect that possibility. Failure of a plan does not mean failure of the purpose. Change the plan. Gather more knowledge. Seek better advice. Correct the weakness. Begin again. Many people lose their magnetic presence after the first defeat because their confidence depended on everything happening easily. Real confidence is different. Real confidence is knowing that you can adapt. You do not need every plan to work. You need the willingness to keep working until you find the plan that does. This is persistence, and persistence may be the point where wealth separates from wishful thinking. Almost everyone can feel inspired for a day. Almost everyone can begin when the idea is new. Almost everyone can work when results arrive quickly. But what happens when no one applauds? What happens when progress is slow? What happens when your first offer is rejected? What happens when the numbers are disappointing? What happens when the people around you begin suggesting that you should become realistic? This is the moment when your aura is tested. Do you collapse into doubt, or do you return to your definite purpose? Do you interpret difficulty as proof that you are incapable, or do you search for the weakness in your plan? Persistence is not repeating the same mistake forever. Persistence is maintaining the purpose while improving the method. There is a difference. A stubborn person protects the method. A persistent person protects the goal. This attitude creates a calm form of power. You stop becoming emotionally destroyed by every temporary result. You observe, you learn, you adjust, you continue, and people notice. The person who remains steady during uncertainty becomes valuable. The person who can think while others panic becomes a leader. The person who continues creating while others complain eventually becomes difficult to ignore. This is how persistence becomes magnetism. Now consider the relationship between emotion and wealth. Money decisions are rarely made through logic alone. People feel trust. They feel confidence. They feel hesitation. They feel desperation. They feel whether you believe in what you are offering. If you approach every conversation thinking, I need this person to save me, pressure enters your voice. But when you know your value, understand your purpose, and remain willing to walk away from the wrong opportunity, your energy changes. You are no longer begging for acceptance. You are evaluating alignment. You are asking whether the opportunity serves both sides. This does not make you arrogant. It makes you centered. True wealth consciousness is not the belief that you are better than others. It is the belief that you are capable of creating value, receiving compensation, managing resources, and expanding what has been placed in your hands. Many people unconsciously reject wealth because they associate it with greed, guilt, corruption, or selfishness. Then they wonder why they sabotage every opportunity to earn more. You must decide what wealth means to you. Wealth can mean control over your time. It can mean safety for your family. It can mean the ability to support meaningful work. It can mean freedom from constant financial anxiety. It can mean investing in ideas that improve the lives of others. Money does not automatically create character. It reveals and amplifies the character already present. Do not fear wealth. Prepare yourself to direct it wisely. Become the person who can receive more without becoming controlled by more. Now I promised you a nightly practice. Use this before sleep, when the mind is becoming quiet and the impressions of the day are entering the subconscious. First, write your definite financial purpose in one clear sentence. State the result you intend to create. State what you will give in return through service, skill, work, leadership, or value. Then read it aloud slowly. Do not rush. See the result in your imagination, but do not imagine only the money. Imagine the person you must become. See yourself making the difficult decision. See yourself completing the work when you feel tired. See yourself speaking with certainty. See yourself recognizing the opportunity. See yourself managing the result wisely. Feel gratitude, not because the work is already finished, but because you have chosen a direction. Then ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do today that moved me toward my purpose? What weakened my energy, discipline, or belief? What is the single most important action I will complete tomorrow? Write the answer. This practice trains your mind to connect desire with responsibility. It prevents visualization from becoming fantasy. It gives your subconscious mind a clear problem to work on while you sleep. And when you wake, complete the action you selected. Do this repeatedly, and something important begins to happen. You stop viewing wealth as a distant event. You begin living as an active participant in its creation. Your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions begin pointing in the same direction. That alignment is your true aura. It is not a mysterious light surrounding your body. It is the unmistakable signal of a person who has stopped drifting, a person with a purpose, a person developing valuable knowledge, a person who makes decisions, a person who controls the conversation within their own mind, a person who chooses allies carefully, a person who changes plans without abandoning the destination, a person who continues. This is the person opportunities begin to recognize. This is the person others begin to trust. This is the person wealth can remain with, because this person has developed the discipline to direct it. Do not wait for money to make you confident. Build the confidence that allows you to create money. Do not wait for opportunity to give you purpose. Build the purpose that allows you to recognize opportunity. Do not wait for the world to declare you valuable. Develop value until the world can no longer overlook it. Your aura changes when your identity changes. Your identity changes when your repeated actions begin proving a new story, and that story can begin today. Not next month. Not when conditions become perfect. Not when fear disappears. Today. Choose one purpose. Choose one skill. Choose one action. Choose one promise you will no longer break. Then move, because wealth is not only attracted by what you desire, it is attracted by what you demonstrate. Demonstrate discipline, demonstrate value, demonstrate decision, demonstrate persistence, demonstrate faith through action. The world is constantly watching for people who can take an idea, organize it, and turn it into reality. Become one of those people. Train your mind until doubt is no longer your first response. Train your emotions until temporary defeat no longer controls your identity. Train your habits until action becomes more natural than delay. Train your presence until people feel possibility when you enter the room. And remember this: you do not attract lasting wealth by chasing money with fear. You attract it by becoming the person capable of creating, recognizing, receiving, and directing opportunity. That person is not somewhere in the future. That person is being built by the thoughts you choose tonight, by the decision you make tomorrow, and by the action you repeat when no one is watching. Your purpose is the command. Your faith is the fuel. Your plan is the bridge. Your persistence is the proof. And your transformed mind is the magnet. Begin now.